Well, what an interesting day or so it's been for the Battlefield franchise. We had Update 3 launch yesterday for Battlefield 2042, which has definitely come back to mixed reviews, but along with that a multitude of news has come from EA regarding movements of people leaving DICE and people joining into different studios who are going to be assisting with the Battlefield franchise going forwards. There have been a few names banded around, but I wanted to focus on one in particular, that being Marcus Lehto, and how he might just be able to build the Battlefield franchise we all crave for. Now, for those of you who don't know who Marcus is, he was essentially one of the co-creators of the green guy from Fortnite, and has since gone on to leave Bungie and create a brand new game called Disintegration, which didn't perform particularly well, however has now been brought in by EA to create a brand new Seattle-based studio to essentially build a whole world and lore around Battlefield and Battlefield 2042 in particular, to run in tandem with all the experiences that are being created by Ripple Effect and DICE themselves. Now, I know a lot of people who support Battlefield and love the franchise aren't particularly bothered about single player or lore or anything of that nature, to be honest. But myself, as someone who's always looked at Battlefield and always enjoyed both the single player and multiplayer aspects, I honestly believe Marcus could really add something to the overall experience. We obviously have the concept of no-pats and the idea of the damage the world has had to itself by 2042, but let's be fair, when we've been actually playing the game, that's not really been representative of what's going on. Honestly, to me it just feels like we're playing on these maps Russians versus Americans, and that's basically it. Obviously what Marcus and his team have been so good at in the past is building out that story. And using Halo as an example, it's arguably the most lore-driven FPS franchise to have ever existed. And that's thanks in part to Marcus's own work. And with the leaking of the cosmetics in the past couple of days that people have been getting frustrated about on Twitter, etc., I think Marcus and his new studio are going to try and bring that grit back into Battlefield again. The likes of Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 1 didn't suffer from any of the problems that we're seeing in 2042 in terms of establishing a connection between the player and the in-game characters. Even if they didn't have a specific face, you recognised you were in battle and at war. I feel like an element of that's been lost in 2042, and I believe that Marcus again is here to bring that back. And one more important thing to note on Marcus, he's also a big fan of the Easter eggs. For example, his birthday on the Scorpion tank in Halo, his initials on the boot of John 117, and even his face on a Marine in Combat Evolved. So if he has anything to do with anything going into the game in future, be sure to be checking out for those Easter eggs. Ultimately, I think Marcus's inclusion and involvement in the Battlefield franchise is going to pay dividends in the future. I say in the future though, because at the moment I still don't think his impact's going to be that great. It really depends on what the output's like and what we see from him in the new studio. I couldn't really finish this video without mentioning having Vince Sampella on the team as well, but I'm still not too sure how that's going to work out ultimately for the franchise. But please let me know what you think of Marcus Lehto's involvement. Have you ever heard of Marcus before, or have you played Halo and do you think the lore's going to help build out Battlefield again? I'm just interested to see what comes out of the studio from now and going forwards, and hopefully it can really ground us back into the conflict that we're meant to be in 2042. As always though guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you again for your time. I look forward to catching up with you all in the next one.